Hello, my name is Karol Pieciukiewicz and I will pleasure to present you opposite approach for identity. Okay, so before we go to the content of the presentation, I would like to make a short introduction about me. So I'm .NET fanatic for more than 12 years. I'm also a tech leader. From few years, I'm an Azure enthusiastic, focusing mainly on custom applications and identity. I got experience in financial and consulting industries, working for clients in Germany, Netherlands, USA, and Poland. Okay, so my presentation will contains three main parts, will be a theory, Azure setup, and live demo. Of course, we will start with the theory. Okay, so the main question, verifiable credential as opposite approach for identity. To fully answer this question, I need to introduce identity models. Uh, okay, so we have three identity models, is centralized, federated, and decentralized. I really like to compare these models to human growth, and I really like to map the centralized identity model to a human crawling. So in this model, each organization has its own identity store. So you want if you want to reach different internet shops, car mechanic, rental, or other services in this model, you need to have a different credential for each this service. And this is hard for the end user to remember all these credentials. It can be tough. And but the other hand, the organization needs to manage hundreds of credentials, and this is really hard. Of course, when you firstly um, log into or sign up to this service, the data of your identity belongs to this organization, and they can use whatever they want. Uh, okay, so as we learn how to grow, I think we can start work. And I really like to map federated model to working. So in that identity model, you only need to remember the credentials for the identity providers. And identity providers, I'm sure that you already know they can be Microsoft, Google, Facebook, GitHub, other ones. So you log in to your identity provider, and then you can reach these services. So you do not need to know your credential for each service. You only log in to your identity provider. So this is easier for me as a user, but this is also easier for these services because they don't need to manage all these credentials. Uh, okay, but can we do it better? Can this be even more secure uh, and friendly for user? Yes, we can. So this is a decentralized model, and I really like to map it to a human running. So in this model, uh, the main component is a digital wallet. I really enjoy that we have such a thing because in this digital wallet I can store my identity data, and of course this digital wallet belongs to me. This is really easy to create such a digital wallet because you simply install application on your mobile device and you have your digital wallet. Of course, there is assumption that you must have explicit access to your device and no one other uses your device. Okay, so as we have a digital wallet, then we can store the verifiable credential. But from where we can obtain this verifiable credential? Uh, so this can be a company, this can be government, or this can be some trusted identity provider. So this is really easy to obtain a verifiable credential and store it in the digital wallet. And once you store and you have your identity data in your digital wallet, you can present these uh, identities, and other services can verify it. So, for example, internet shop can verify your digital credential, and car rental and medical clinic and whatever service wants to integrate with this verifiable credential. For If some service wants to verify such a data, they need two things. They need to issue an ID and they need to verifiable credential type. I will show you in the upcoming demos uh, how easy is finding the issuer. Uh, okay, so now we can ask some question. What data can verifiable credential contains? So this is pretty easy to answer because we can store any data in claims. So you designing the verifiable credential and you can put any claim you want. Uh, the next question, who can create a verifiable credential? It's also easy, but in some case tricky because anyone can create, so issue a verifiable credential, but you must trust your issuer. I think this is a trick because, like in real world, you do not trust anyone on the street. This is the same in digital world. So you cannot trust any issuer, and if you will pick an issuer without not who is not trusty, uh, no other service will trust this issuer. So in the end, you cannot use this verifiable credential. So you must choose the issuer wisely. Uh, okay, but I think the most important question: why verifiable credentials are better? So let's explain this on some use case. So imagine that you want to rent a car and you go to car rental company and they mm, require to validate your driver license to make a reservation of this car. And uh, now you will scan this driver license and send to them. So you scan entire document and send to car rental company. So you shared with them your name and surname, your photo, address, personal ID. So this is a whole bunch of data, maybe even more, it depending on the country. So, but how this can be better using a verifiable credential? So when you will use this approach, you will only share proof that you have a valid driver license, nothing more. So you can make a reservation without publishing all this data from driver license. This is a question: who can issue you such a verifiable credential? This can be a government, but I think this is discussion for our next meetup. Okay, so just quick summary. So using verifiable credential, you share only needed information. You also store data on your device in a digital wallet. And uh, if someone wants to use your data, you must give a consent for this usage. I will show you in upcoming demo how this consent will look like on my digital wallet. Okay, so now we end up with the theory, so we can go with the Azure setup. Please, if you have your phone near you, please keep it in hand or some close because you will need it in the further presentation because I would like you to participate in my demo and you will be engaged. Okay, so the first thing you must install Microsoft Authenticator app. You can scan the QR code from Google Play and App Store. If you already have installed Microsoft Authenticator app, please sure that is not an old version, because in old version you don't have a verified credential. So please check if this version is updated. Okay, so now we can go to the Azure setup. So in the Azure, there is a Microsoft Entra Verified ID, which is responsible for creating and verifying verifiable credentials. So to configure this service, you need some prerequisites. So you need global administrator or authentication policy administrator with permission application administrator, and also you need contributor role for Azure subscription or the resource group. I know that these are really high privilege roles, so if you have your enterprise subscription, please firstly check if you can obtain some high privilege role, because without that you cannot create that service. Okay, so now we will deep dive into Microsoft Azure, and I will show you how to configure this Microsoft Entra Verified ID service. So stay focused. And there is a list what we will configure step by step. So of course we need to start with creation of verified ID service. Uh, okay, so we are on the Azure portal, and of course I have all permission which I need. I select verified ID service, so I have to set up firstly the organization. So the organization will be named Expert Summit, and now I need trusted domain. To make it really easy, I use app service folders. So I created app service. This is just simple app service on based on the Windows plan. Okay, we need to wait for the load. This all Azure setup is done live, so this might need some disruptions. Okay, maybe I will refresh the page. Okay, I will copy the URL of this app service and paste it on this as trusted domain. So next I need to select the keyword. This is just simple keyword instance. It doesn't have nothing special. So this is easy to create. And in advanced option, I will choose web because ION is propagated up to 2 hours. So I won't be able to show you how to configure the service. Okay, I click Save and Started. Okay, so we have nearly ready service, so we can check that this service was created, and now we need to make some configuration. So I need to register decentralized ID for my service. In order to do that, I have to place DID JSON file on my domain. So you see that this is app service, and I go to app service editor. I already created the well-known catalog. Also, I have to upload the web config with my map for the JSON extension, because without that you cannot reach this file from the web. Okay, so I will copy the name of the file just to do not have some problems. Okay, file is okay. I will make some. Okay, I have some problem with accessing it, but we will go again to the app service editor. I will open it one more time. And hopefully it will work now. Okay, so I created the ID JSON file. Now I copy the content of this file. I paste it. You see that this file is already saved. To double check, I will copy this URL and open new tab. Yeah, you see that this is available. So I can type refresh registration status. Okay, so my decentralized ID is registered. So I now need to verify my domain ownership. So what? Oh, this is a trick because Azure Key Vault is engaged into the signing operation, and you see that I have lack of cryptographic operation for my account. Okay, to fix that, we go to Key Vault. This is Express Summit Key Vault. We go to Access Policies. We check the My Account. We click Edit, and I need to add sign cryptographic operation to my account. I click Next. I click Save. Okay, that was fast. Okay, so now we can go back to our verified ID service. We go to the registration, click verify on the domain ownership verification. Okay, so this is the same situation as in the previous one. So we need to create the DID configuration JSON file on our domain. So I will create this DID configuration JSON file. Yes, I will copy the value, the content of this file. This is already saved. For double check, I will copy the URL for this file. Okay, this is available. So I think we can type refresh verification status. Okay, this verified. So our service is already up and going with configured decentralized ID and the proven domain verification, domain ownership. So we just made 2 steps. Okay, so now it's time to show you how you can create your custom verifiable credential. Okay, to do that, we go to the overview. Then we need to select the create credential and we click start. And for now, we can select 2 types of the credentials. This will be verified employee or custom credential. Of course, we choose custom credential. Okay. Now, in this custom credential creation, you need to specify 3 areas. The first is a credential name, the second is display definition, and the last one is the rules definitions. So for the credential name, you of course put your name of your credential. This is not a surprise. So, but in the display definition, you define your card name, you define your claims, you define your logo. So you just put the URL for your logo, and you define some branding. So you can set how background look like. It can be gradient, it can be solid, how your font will look like, so the color and so on. You also made some description of this particular credential type and make some constant instructions. And you define also the claims. So you have in this type with the default set, you have first name and last name, but you can choose whatever you want. And in the rules definition, you create a mapping between your claims and your input, which you give to the service. In that particular case, in the input claim, you have given name, and the output claim is the first name. Of course, this output claim must match your claims in the display definition. Okay, so I would like in the rules definition, I would like to mention 3 fields. So in the indexed field, you specify if this particular credential type can be searched by this field in your store. If you do not define it, you cannot you just cannot find this verifiable credential. Okay, we also have a validity interval, which this value is in seconds, and this is for 30 days. And of course, the verifiable credential type. You also need to define it, and I really encourage you that you define the type as the same as your name, but without a special characters. Okay, so now we know how to create a very custom verifiable credential. So now I can show you how to find an issuer. So how to gather all data to make to be able to verify claim to verify verifiable credentials. Sorry. So in order to do that, we need to create a verification request. I click start. Now I need to find issuer. To find issuer, we use this search bar. This is also available by the AP, so you cannot do it by own. Okay, so I found the issuer. I need to check which verifiable credential I would like to verify. I click add and go to the review page. Okay, so now what is important in that file? I already mentioned this on the FIOS session. So I have accepted issuer. So this is my issuer identifier, and I also have a type of this verifiable credential. So these two parameters will help me to create a QR code for this identification. So rest of the parameters are really filled by your application. So do not bother it now. You can easily find it how it's done in the sample code provided by Microsoft, which I will give you information about it later. Okay, so now we know how to find an issuer and what we need to integrate with this issuer. And I also show you on the upcoming demo how this integration works in the application. Okay, so now we have one left point. This is Azure Active Directory application registration. So in order to do that, we of course need to go to the Azure Active Directory. We choose the app registration blade. Of course, we need to do a new registration. Maybe we can name it Express Summit VC app. This will be only available in the single tenant. So in this tenant which I have. Okay, so the app was created. Now I need to give this application permission to my service. In order to do that, I go to API permission, then I click add permission. I go to the second tab, which my organization uses, and I find verifiable credentials service request. And now you have to choose which permission will be available for this app. So if you will only issue the verifiable credential, you have to check this item. If your application will only verify, so you do not issue a verifiable credential, then you need to check this permission. In my case, I will choose to be issuer and verifier at once. So I added the permission, but I need also grant admin consent for this application, for this particular permission. Okay, that was successful. So there is one more to do in the this application registration. So I need to create a secret. So I will name it VC access. It can be 6 months, doesn't matter. Okay, so now this is really important thing because you have a value of your secret, and keep in mind that you need to copy this value right now, because when you refresh the page or go and back to this page, this value won't be available. So this is only time when you can copy this value. Okay, just remember that. Okay, so we know how to make Azure AD application registration with the AP permission. So now, like all services in Azure Cloud, this service also has some limitation. So for now, it uses only Microsoft Authenticator app as a digital wallet. Service verified ID is only available for the listed regions. So if you will create this service, and uh, so you will create the service in one of these regions, then you need to create your keyword or app service or other services in the same region, because you would like to limit latency. And in my opinion, the biggest limit is the Azure keyword throttling. So as I mentioned, and you saw on during the Azure setup, that Azure keyword is involved into the signing operation. This implies that you need to that you can create 4,000 verifiable credential issuance per minute. For now, you cannot change it. Okay, so I think we can go to the next chapter. This will be live demo, but just keep in mind that I would like you to participate in that demo. So keep your device, mobile phones ready, because you will use it in just a minute. Okay, before we go to the real application, I would like to show how the flow looks like. So we have a front-end application, backend verified ID service, and Azure AD. So now from my front-end, I would like to verify a verifiable credential. So in order to acquire the QR code, I need to get a presentation request. So I make presentation request from my front-end to my backend. And in the backend, I need to obtain the token from the Azure AD. I use exactly the same application as I shown you. So when I have my token, I can make presentation request to the verified ID service. And if everything's go fine, I will get the response from the service, so I can display the QR code on my front-end application. Okay, so when I have my front-end application with the QR code rendered, uh, I, I use my Microsoft Authenticator app to scan this code. And when I scan this code, from the front-end side, I start pulling. So I pull the information if my content of the verifiable credential for this client is available on my backend. I know that pulling is just a shortcut, but for the demo I didn't make some signal error or push notification. This is a simple pulling scenario. When so we back to the Microsoft Authenticator, and in your mobile device you must to give a consent for the usage of this verifiable credential. So when you done it, then the verified ID made a callback to your backend, and in backend I save the response of of this service. So the pooling notices that verifiable credential content is available on this backend, and it display this content. You will show how it works on the live application in just a second. So I prepared a three demo scenarios. First is the employee onboarding. So uh, when the pandemic came, uh, a lot of new employees are onboarded remotely. So there is a problem to obtain the initial password for the system, and I will show you how can you resolve that issue. In the second demo, this is a guest webinar ticket. So imagine that your company organized webinar and you want to make some sign up for this event. So I can show you how easy it's done using a verifiable credential. Just mm, really easy using even sample code from the Microsoft. And the last one will be integration with another issuer. I already mentioned it, so go back to our browser. Okay, on the right hand side you can see my device. This is a live view. So you saw that I need to use my biometric to open my digital wallet, and you see user onboarding verifiable credential demo. If you would like to participate, which I encourage you, just scan this QR code from the top, so you can reach the same site as me, and you can go through this process. Okay, so now, as you see in my digital wallet, I don't have new employee onboarding card from the tech issuer. To obtain it, I click issue. Okay, so now I need to put my first name, my last name, my personal ID and secret for agreement are fixed. So please use the same value for the first name and last name. You can use the same as you can use different than me. So the idea of this demo is like that. When you sign your agreement with a company, there will be a secret to authorize you to get the verifiable credential card. So I use this secret. The personal ID, of course, is the personal ID of this person. So I need these two things: personal ID and secret for agreement to get this card. Okay, I click validate, and you see that I have to scan this with my mobile device. I scan this code. Okay, I now need to put the PIN code with 4763. I type next, and now I can add this card to my digital wallet. Of course, I would like to add it. So you see that credentials successfully issued information on the web page. So I click home, and now I can make a verification of this particular card. So I click verify, and now you do not need to choose which card you would like to use. You just type the right top corner, and you scan this QR code. So now you see that for my digital wallet, this card was selected automatically, and I click share. Okay, so you see how fast that was going. Even if I on this website, I have a pulling, not some event push. So that was really fast. Okay, this is the first demo. Now I will go to the second one. This page will be also available after this session. So feel free to play around with it. Okay, so now we have a second demo. I will zoom a little. The same situation, if you would like to check how it works, scan the QR code on the top of this page, so you can go through the process. As you see, the situation is similar, so I don't have my webinar access card in my digital wallet, so I click issue. There is no validation uh, for the uh, for the first name or last name or even for email. So I will put it uh, my email. Uh, of course, in the real world, you should verify this email address, but I think this shouldn't be a problem because you need to decide what steps need to be completed to issue the verifiable credential. So I click validate. Of course, I need to scan this QR code using my application, put the PIN code, uh, and click next. Okay, I can now add my webinar access. Okay, my webinar access is already uh, on my digital wallet, and I click verify. Okay, I can scan the QR code, and now, of course, I need to give my consent that this particular website can use my credential. So I click share. Okay, so you see that I got access to the webinar event. This is my name, and of course, this is taken from the verifiable credential. Okay, so now we have the last demo. This is integration with another issuer. So in this scenario, I'm not the person who is issuing this verifiable credential. So I need to obtain from different issuer. And as you see, I already have these two identity cards in my wallet, but I would like to show how I can obtain it from the issuer. So I click issue. I put my first name, last name. I need to take a selfie. Of course, this all data is mocked. This is only test data, but I think this is not hard to make such application which verify your photo and your document. Okay, so now I can scan the QR code, and you see that even if I need to just add it to my wallet. The situation is the same as in the previous, but now you see that I have duplicated these two identity card. So I have the first one on the top and on the bottom the second one. So now what will happen if I click verify? So if I click verify, of course I need to scan the QR code or use deep link if you use mobile device. And now I need to select the verified ID card because I have two of them. So I can choose whatever I want. I click confirm. I click share. Okay, and my identity was verified. That was really fast. And what's more, you can type your card. You have a verified info, so there are all information which are stored in these verifiable credentials. So these are my claims, and you have another tab, the activity. So I see when this verifiable credential card was issued and when I use it. So I presented this card to my website. Okay, so you have information who, why, and when use your data. Okay, we can go back to the presentation. As I mentioned, I'm based on this demo of the sample code. This is prepared by Microsoft. So if you would like to play around in your own environment, I encourage you to download this sample code so you can create your own application. Okay, just a short summary about about the presentation. So you are the owner of the identity. You saw that my identity cards were stored in my digital wallet on my device, and I must give a consent if someone want to use it. And on the last part, I show you the log, so I know who, why, and when used my identity. I would like to to make you some survey. So for the fastest and the most precise, people will be some for the first place, from the second and fourth place will be on reward. So if you can scan this QR code and you can answer the really simple question, leave the email address so we can contact you and send the reward. I will give you a short time to scan this and answer the questions. Okay, so this survey will be available for just one for a few minutes, and now we can go to the questions. Okay, so the first question: in what way the centralized identity provides bigger control over digital identity? Does it provide the safety of data on the internet? So the short answer will be that you control your data. So if you use Facebook or other identity providers, you do not have control who uses and who read your data. In the decentralized identity, you must give a consent if someone wants to use your data. What's more, um, if you share your identity, your digital identity, you will share a lot of information. So in the decentralized identity, you will have mm, a, a lot of card, which each card will contains one information about you. So for example, you will contain one card for your name and surname, one card for your email, one card indicating if you are 20 years old or something else. Uh, Mm, the second part of the question, does it provide the safety of data on the internet? So your data is stored on your device. So even if the identity provider will be compromised, you do not lose your data because they are not stored in one place. Okay, I just logged in and honestly, I'm a bit disappointed. The idea for sure is good, but for me, the execution seems half finished. Don't you think so? Would you agree Microsoft could take a bit more time to make it more useful? Uh, for what I see is that there can be a problem with the trusty issuer. So I think this is biggest question. I would like that you that the government will issue some verifiable credential So then will be easy because I will have my personal ID on the digital wallet. Uh, but I know that Microsoft is currently working on it. So in the near future, this will have a new functionalities. Okay, so the next question, the question is if anyone can run a blockchain node on premise, as I understood this currently. So I don't think so. There is need to use the Ion blockchain. So for my knowledge, you can't create your own. Okay, the next question. What is the price of the Entra Verified ID service? I don't mean Azure Keyboard, web service, etc., just Entra Verified ID. So there is no additional cost of the Entra Verified ID service. Okay, and the next question, can we use obyvatel in such a way? For now, I don't know, but I I would like to see some site with the integration with the obyvatel and to generate the verifiable credentials. So if you can make application which can prove, which can obtain data for a user using government like obyvatel, then you can have a way to generate the verifiable credential. Okay, so I see that that's all questions from our viewers. Uh, Thank you, and I would also thanks for your attention. And if you have any more question, you can just easily reach me on LinkedIn or other media. Thanks.